There is a mass exodus taking place within the Democratic Party. Our country is currently under attack, and the battlefield is at the voting booths. I'm Kevin McIntyre, and you are listening to episode 11 of the Podfather Show. There's currently a mass exodus taking place within the Democratic Party in the United States right now, as a record-setting and growing number of people are leaving the Democratic Party and openly declaring their new and firmly seated support for the Republican Party and President Donald Trump. Hundreds of thousands of Democrats are switching to the Republican Party. It's evident in social media across every platform imaginable. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, as we see Democrats everywhere confess that they are sick and tired of the hate running rampant within the Democratic Party, and they're switching to the Republican Party. Democrats everywhere are denouncing the Republican Party because of the hate that they support and the corruption that they fuel. Californians, the LGBTQ community, African Americans, Democrats of all kinds are leaving the Democratic Party and are switching proudly to becoming Republicans. And they're doing so because the Republican Party is the party that's now becoming known for the party of tolerance, the party of unity, and the party of love for America. And many people are beginning to see this. While hundreds of thousands more who, although are remaining Democrats for the long term, are still nonetheless casting their votes for Trump in the 2020 election. The media establishment wants you to believe that Biden is leading in the polls. They want you to believe that Trump is destined to lose. They want you to believe that Trump will not win the 2020 election and that Biden is somehow miraculously ahead in all of the battleground states. They want you to believe that there's no use in getting out and voting for Trump, as if your efforts would be futile. But don't be fooled. This is how the media establishment conducts their damage control. This is how they this is how they go about trying to prevent a catastrophic failure on their part. Because everywhere you look across America right now, people are supporting Donald Trump. People have gone out and quit their jobs, and they've traveled around the country in support of Donald Trump. They're wrapping their vehicles in Donald Trump logos and wording and text and graphics. There was a Trump sign similar to the Hollywood Trump sign that was put up out west in California, and it was put up on a hillside. It was made to look like the Hollywood side. It was enormous. People are gathering in huge crowds and rallies and having parades and cruises in honor of Donald Trump. Everywhere you look, people are waking up. Patriotism is coming back to life again. And people are once again reviving their love for America. And it's now becoming a good thing again to be considered a patriot. It's considered a compliment again. It's no longer considered an insult. Point at any Donald Trump supporter, call him a patriot, and he or she will very likely say thank you. But make no mistake, though, our country is certainly under attack. The Democratic Party has become destructive to our freedoms and liberties of our great nation. And Donald Trump has vowed to stand up and do everything he can to restore those liberties and freedoms within the structure and the core belief system of the United States of America, to help return the United States of America to what it once was and what it was supposed to have been. People are gathering around everywhere. And the reason why they're doing this is because they support Donald Trump. They're coming out in hordes, in mass numbers, hundreds of thousands of people in every state. Unlike any time before in history, other than Kennedy or Ronald Reagan, I can't remember any other time that the American people have come together and shown such great love and patriotism and support for another president. Reagan and Kennedy were the only other two that I can think of, at least in my memorable lifetime. I wasn't alive for Kennedy, but I mean, my parents were, and I remember hearing them speak about it. But people are energized about President Donald Trump, and they're uniting together in ways that just it's completely mind-boggling. If you rely on the media, CNN, NBC, ABC, for your news, you're likely not going to see any of this or very little of it. But the reality's there. The truth is there. The video evidence is there. If you look for it, such as on YouTube, you will see the massive groups of people, these caravans of cars in these unsanctioned parades, if you will, in almost every state across the country, and these lines of cars go miles, tens of miles, and they're all in support of Donald Trump. Beverly Hills, California, which we're looking at on the screen now, California, for crying out loud. In Beverly Hills, the last place that you expect to see huge groups of people coming together in truly a peaceful protest, or just, this isn't even a protest. This is just in honor of our great president. Everywhere you look, people are showing their love. And I mean, we've had huge boating parades with hundreds, even thousands of boats on all the coastal waterways. The rallies that, like, we're looking at here. I mean, you see this view here from a helicopter view in Beverly Hills, California. If no one was to tell you this is California, you never believe it. California is widely known as a blue state, and to think that there's that many Trump supporters that are coming out in these great numbers, and the Democrats are joining them, you have to wonder, is there any way that Trump can lose? That's a legitimate question as well as a rhetorical question. But there's a lot of concern and sincerity behind that. But if you have that many Democrats that are switching to the Republican side, and that many Democrats who aren't even switching but are still voting for Donald Trump, it's not possible that he can lose. I mean, the Trump campaign going around the country right now has all of the battleground states, all of the previous states that they had from the 2016 election, and now they're just adding more. So they're retaining the supporters. Trump is retaining the supporters that he had from the 2016 election. But now that the Democrats have spent 4 years of their life watching him keep his promises, watching him do the things he said he was going to do, and watching what he's done for our country, now he's got their votes too. About the only Democrats that Trump isn't getting at this point are the far left Democrats and the liberals, which those are people that, I mean, they would vote Satan in if he was a Democrat. It wouldn't matter who was running against who. If Satan were running as a Democrat and Jesus himself were running as a Republican, they would still vote for the Democratic Party. There's those who will always vote Democrat regardless of who's running or what's at stake. But even that being said, there's a lot at stake this election. And the numbers that are turning out for these Trump rallies and the campaign trail that he's having right now, enormous records. There was I forget exactly which Coliseum it was that Trump was in, but he had broken records of an Elton John concert at the same Coliseum a few years back. I mean, Trump is filling stadiums. The media won't tell you this. They won't show you this. But if you bother to look up the information for yourself, you'll see that he is. There's no denying that the better part of our country is supportive of President Donald Trump right now. There's so many people showing up at these events and these rallies that they're literally having to stand outside and they're still filling the streets. When you see these rallies, the crowds go on as far as you can see, and these when they're inside these stadiums, like you see here, the stadiums are packed full. There might be a couple of nosebleed seats that aren't filled, you know, but and the media will zoom in on these seats. You know, there might be 10 seats that aren't filled in one particular area, but those could be closed off for anything. But the media will zoom in on that and they'll focus on that and they'll talk about how horrible Trump's doing, but they won't show you the rest of the stadium. They won't show you the rest of the crowd. As you see here in this video, we've gone through over a half a dozen states from the Trump rallies that's going around right now. And we're showing you the pictures of these crowds and these Trump supporters. You can see it for yourself. The only way the Democrats can win this election is voter fraud. There's no way that this many people can support one president and vote for one president and his opposing party win. It's not mathematically possible. There's no way Biden can honestly win this election. Everywhere you look, there's Trump flags on people's cars. There's Trump signs in people's yards. Everywhere you look. Yes, sure, there's Trump signs or Biden signs in people's yards too, but not to the degree that we have with the Trump signs, not to the degree that we have with the Trump flags. Or that show me a Biden parade, a cruising caravan parade, over a mile long. Show me a video of one. You can't. He's not getting the support that Trump is. Trump gave up a billionaire lifestyle to come to work for the American people for free. He doesn't even take a paycheck. He donates 100% of every paycheck to a different cause every quarter. When he gets paid, it gets donated to something else, from veterans funds to all sorts of things, to veteran memorial graveyards and stuff. I mean, you name it, he's donated it. He's actually lost wealth since he became president because he's given up so much. The man could be sitting on a yacht somewhere with his toes in sand that's so white and so fine of the likes that you and I will never see. But instead, he's working for free, trying to make America better, trying to make America great again. And he's doing things for all nationalities in America. He's putting America first above all other nations, but he's still doing things for all nationalities that make America what it is. There's no denying. When you look at these numbers, whether you like Trump or not, you can't deny that he's got 10 supporters to every one Biden supporter. There's a reason why the Biden party wants mail-in voting, because it's one of the most easily corrupted ways to vote. It's most easily corruptible ways to vote. With mail-in voting, there is an open door. There's means of corrupting those votes and changing those votes. I've seen with my own eyes pictures of people getting these votes, these mail-in ballots, to their house, and there's not a Democrat that lives in their house, but they're getting Democrat mail-in ballots. The Democratic Party is corrupt. We've learned that over the last 4 years. And even The Democrats have learned that over the last 4 years. If the Democrats win this election with Biden, it's absolutely got to be fraud. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You can't have this many people support a president and him not win. In fact, I'll go out and I'll say one even further. If President Trump doesn't win by an enormous landslide, even if he does win, if he doesn't win by an enormous landslide, then the election needs to be looked at. Even if he wins, or when he wins, if the results aren't by an enormous landslide, even bigger than that of Trump and Hillary, I mean, if he doesn't win both the popular and the electoral vote, something needs to be investigated, because I guarantee you there will be voting fraud behind it. The Democrats have been trying all year to shut down schools and churches and places like that. Well, guess what? Those are the places that we vote. You vote in churches, you vote in schools. Is it coincidence that the Democrats have been wanting to use the COVID-19? I'm not saying COVID isn't real, but is it a coincidence that the Democrats have been wanting to use COVID-19 as an excuse to shut these places down so that they could later, which they did, start to encourage and push the mail-in voting? The Democrats may be corrupt, but they're not stupid. But they're hoping that you're stupid. We owe it to President Trump to get out there and give back to him what he's been doing for us for the last 4 years. If you're wishy-washy on voting for him and you think maybe he's got it in the bag, even if you voted for him last year, you need to do it. You need to get out there and vote and make sure he wins.
USA! 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 Oh, God bless America!
I am with you. I will fight for you, and I will win for you.